What's going on, everyone? Designedcoma here. Welcome back. And the gameplay you're watching is me playing some Infinite Warfare. So what's up for today's video? Well, I know it's been a while since I recorded and posted, and I will get to that in a different video. But for this video, I want to talk about just what the title says, Acts of Random Kindness. This is something that me and my family went out and did this past weekend. It was on Saturday morning. We got up very early in the morning, went out to this church out into one of these cities here in Detroit. We did something really great. It was a lot of fun. It was a good time, and we really enjoyed it. So what did we do? What is it we went and did? Well, first of all, I'm going to give you a little bit of background about the city. The city we went to is called Brightmoor, and this city, in all honesty, is probably about 20 minutes from my house. It's really not that far. It's kind of like one of those night and day cities where as you're traveling, you can see the things changing as you're driving along. Brightmoor is what's considered one of the inner city suburbs, and we're always categorized. There's two different categories. It's like I live in the burbs is what it would be called, is what we would be considered where we live. And then there's the inner city suburbs. And Brightmoor is one of those inner city suburbs. I don't even really want to call it inner city because it is just a suburb like any other suburb. It just happens to be in Detroit. It's one of those cities that is ranked one of the 8 most dangerous cities in Detroit, and Brightmoor lands right at number 8. There was a time where Brightmoor was actually a lot worse than what it currently is, so it is on one of those paths to improvement, but it still has its challenges just like a lot of the other cities do in Detroit. So what in the heck were we doing in Brightmoor? Why did I take my family to this city that I'm telling you right now is one of the top 8 most dangerous cities in Detroit? Well, like I've talked about in some of my videos, that I am a Christian. You know, I have talked about my faith a little bit, not as much as I feel like I should be. I honestly feel like I should be talking about it more often. What we were doing there is we went to help out one of the local churches there, and what they do every year is they put together these food baskets for the people that live in the community in that local area. It was a huge effort. We put together probably about 400 or so of these baskets that were just filled with food. Now, when I say basket, I don't mean like an Easter basket style basket. They just call it a basket. They call it a food basket. What they really are is these bags. There's 2 bags. There's a really big bag and there's a little bit smaller bag. And these bags get filled with all kinds of different food like raisins, freeze-dried cherries. There was some frozen chicken that went in there. There's actually 2 things of chicken. Some canned goods, things that they would have or not necessarily be able to get, which will allow them to have something decent for Thanksgiving is what it was really for. Now, this isn't something we just go out and do every year to feel good about ourselves. That's not why we do it. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. There are those that go out and do these things just to feel good about themselves, but that's not the way me and my family do this. We go out and we find something different to do each year if we can. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but we try to make sure we get out there, and we do stuff throughout the year as well. It's not just around Thanksgiving or Christmas time or the holidays and those kinds of things, or Easter. We try to make sure we get out into the community in some way, serving the communities around us, not necessarily just the community we live in. We like to look around to the cities that are outlying in terms of where we live. So we decided to go and do this thing in Brightmoor. Yeah, I was a little reserved about it because, don't get me wrong, I have a family and I love them dearly, and the last thing I want is anything bad to happen to them. And Brightmoor is one of those cities that they will know you're an outsider if you're there. They're going to know you're not from there. It's just that kind of city. So it's not exactly one of those places you just go to visit a store and just walk up and down the street with friends or something like that, because crime happens during the day. It's just open day crime. And there were a number of times that we were standing there as we're filling these baskets. We saw the Detroit police officers driving by with their lights on, going to whatever call it was for whatever reason. So things are happening all around us while we were there. It's not like we were hearing shootings or anything going on like that, but still, you're aware of the surroundings. It was a little bit scary at first, but the thing is when it comes to our faith, we know that a lot of times when it's scary, we're in the right place, because it's the place that needs people the most. People need to know that there's people out there that do care about them. And this was part of our effort. This is what we wanted to do. So we're there filling these baskets and everything, and it took, a good, I don't know, it was a few hours, maybe an hour and a half or so, for us to get all these baskets filled. And eventually it came down to two options. There were two choices we had. We could go out and drive these baskets out to the neighborhoods and drop them off at people's houses, or we could stay back and help fill the vehicles as they were going out. And they were going out in waves, and we had a lead driver who would take us to where they wanted us to start dropping them off. Once we got there, we would just blanket the road, get out, and start knocking on doors to hand this food out. Now, not everybody answers their doors in Brightmoor. It's one of those cities where people are, once they get home, they shut the door and they do not want to open it necessarily for anybody. Some of the houses we managed to get people to open the door, it was because they peeked out through their drapes to see who was at the door. And I'll tell you what, it was a little bit unnerving, you could say, a little bit uneasy. We're not always supposed to feel comfortable, especially when it comes to the way me and my family practice our faith and the way we lead out our faith. We know that there's going to be those situations where, you know what, we're going to be uncomfortable sometimes, and that's just the way it is. We're passing this food out. One of the houses we went to was probably one of the most eye-opening for me, and it was a very young woman. Her windows are all, blanketed off, that you really can't see into the house. We went to the side door because they feel that's the safest place. They don't want to open the front door. So we're at the side door, and she opens the door very carefully, peeks through, and she asked what we were there for, and we told her what we were there for. She opened the door. Her face, when she saw us standing there with this food, her face went from extreme worry and fear to smiling, happy, and just elated that we were there with this food. And I'll tell you what, it's a great feeling to feel that, but it's also, you also get a sense of how they're living and what their life is like, and it kind of breaks your heart at the same time. It's weird, the number of emotions that go through you when you encounter people in this situation. I'll tell you what, it was really a great feeling. It was a great experience, and I really want to urge people, you don't have to be a person of faith to do these things. You really don't. Find a local church that's doing something for the community and participate. That's really all they're looking for. They don't care if you believe or not. What they care most about is having people that care about people. And that's what it's really about, is people caring about people. It's not people going out there to preach to those when you're passing things out or anything of that nature. It's going out, letting these people know that there's really others out there that want to help them. And do it throughout the year. Don't just keep it to one thing or the other. Yeah, it feels great around Thanksgiving and the holidays. It always makes everybody feel good to participate in those kinds of things. But do other things. It's really a cool thing, and I'm telling you, you guys will have a great experience, and you'll gain a different sense of the world when you're doing something like that. Just going out and doing little acts of random kindness for people is one of the greatest things that you could ever do, and these people are going to love it. Are they going to be your best friend or your best buddy and you're going to exchange numbers and stuff? Most likely not. But at the same time, it really makes them feel good. And this woman, she had probably a good 3 or 4 kids, and she was just so excited to have this food. It was so unexpected. She had no idea it was coming. And that's really the way it's supposed to be. None of these people know that this is happening. They never know that anybody's coming. It's not like flyers go out anywhere and everybody's ready to be at their door waiting for it. I mean, these people, they live in fear every day. They live in fear. They're in their houses. They live in fear. A lot of times they go out. They never know what's going to happen. They don't know if they're going to come home. It's one of those cities. And Brightmoor used to be a great city. I urge you to go and Google Brightmoor, Brightmoor, Michigan, and you'll gain a sense of the history of Brightmoor and everything like that, and where it was and where it is now. It is getting better, but it still has a long way to go, just like a lot of the other inner cities in Detroit. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know this was kind of, I don't know, maybe I was on a soapbox here for a little bit, but at the same time, I really wanted to share this experience with everyone. and to urge people to go out and do little acts of random kindness just to bring some joy into the world, because it just feels like the world is just, I don't know, it just feels like it's going in this horrible downward spiral. It's almost like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, but there really is. And it just takes people to do little things. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.